tell me a little bit about Steve there.
Steve is a terrible, terrible piece of taxidermy, like really bad. So we decided that we wanted to have Steve guarding the establishment with his little mini AK-47.
Yeah, he looks like he's locked and loaded and ready. He's got a look in his eye.
He
like
does. He's got his eyes on the door.
Somebody to come in the door with bad intentions.
That's right. Mess around and find out, you terrible piece of taxidermy.
Did you trade him for a few Morgan dollars or something?
You never know what somebody's going to walk in here with, and Steve just happened to be one of those pieces.
Down in Indianapolis, over on the east side in Lawrence Township, there's an awesome coin shop called the Lost Dutchman. Hello, silver fans. This is T, and you're in the place to be for silver education, acquisition, and entertainment. And hey, if you enjoy coin shop videos, you're in the right place. Be sure to subscribe. And if you enjoy today's content, hit that like button. T. All right, guys, here with Matt Dinger at the Lost Dutchman Coins down here in Indianapolis. Matt, thanks for coming on the show, buddy.
Hey, no problem. Glad to see you again.
I threw it out there to my viewers. Hey, I'm going to a coin shop or two. You guys have any questions? And you haven't seen these.
No, I have no idea what's coming.
I pulled them out of my pocket, and I've got some questions here from Matt. And so you got the whole variety here. I'm just going to start rattling them up. But
sure, go for it.
Here we go. But the first one, though, I was watching something on put out by the American Numismatic Association, which I am a member. I was talked into it by my buddy Russ. Rare coins ignore recession. So that was the statement in the article. It was a good article, but is that true? I mean, you've been doing this for decades. The high-end stuff, is it recession-proof, or do you see ebbs and flows as we may or may not be going into a recession?
Just like with any other market, I mean, you run into the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs, but I think they're onto something there. I mean, rare coins just tend to be on this, not a real fast spike upwards, but just this gradual incline over the years.
Yeah.
You can look back at auctions. You know, that's the best part about having companies like Heritage that put all of their records out there. You can go back and research these things and look at the market yourself.
Okay.
So yeah, I think so. I mean, in our business, the coin business is kind of almost even itself recession-proof because, in times of recession, unfortunately, people do need money. So they bring stuff, they go digging in closets and bringing out stuff that they need to sell. And then in the good times, people have, expendable income that they want to put into things like rare coins. So, but yeah, looking at the markets over the years, I think that's just a general kind of slow upward climb.
So, you got a 16D Mercury dime sitting in your safe. You don't have to worry about, a year from now, and we're in the middle of a recession, and things are worth half of what it was previously.
Rare coins are always rare.
Yeah, that's a good statement. Dude named Daddy Silverbucks has a YouTube channel. Also, a good dude. What percentage do you pay for coins according to Redbook when they walk in the door? Do you even look at Redbook, or do you look at eBay, or how do you know how to price a coin or offer a guy a fair offer when he comes in?
Okay, so Redbook is a great guide to tell you if your coin is rare or not, but pricing wise, most of the time it's not accurate, simply because they have to compile all that data before they even release the book. So a lot of the times your data is a year old, a year and a half old. So the Redbook pricing is not great. So if you brought me a coin, the first thing I would do would be to look at something like a gray sheet. Look at the bid on that coin. But that's not the only thing you do when you're trying to figure out what a coin's worth. You have to sometimes make sure that the gray sheet's even keeping up with the market. So you have to look at things like auction comps.
Gray sheet is published once a month? Or
it is, yep.
Is there live online?
They're both. They're options for both. The live online is actually better because they do update it and then push that data out instantly. So if they change a bid, it shows up online a month before it'll show up in the paper copy. Paper copy is a lot easier, especially for dealers. It shows to you walk around with a magazine. It's a lot easier than carrying a laptop or a tablet with you to get that data. So what I'll do is I'll look at a gray sheet number, and then from there I will verify that number with auction comps. Basically, I'll see, okay, so is gray sheet on the money here? They're a little high, they're a little low. Sometimes they're a lot high or a lot low, depending because the market changes. And then from there, obviously, we can, depending on what my stock levels are of a certain item. Say I have 10 SVDBs in stock, and somebody brings in an SVDB. Well, I can't quite offer as much for that coin as I would if I didn't have any or I needed one. So.
Well, thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah.
And kind of another question, very similar, came from a buddy of mine on YouTube named Cash and Coins, another great channel. Pre-33 gold, and
Okay.
he basically same question, but pre-33 is there's a bit of a mystique about pre-33. I personally love it. And is pre-33 treated different than any other numismatics that walks in the door?
Yes and no. I mean, most pre-33 that just walks in off the street is going to be a common date coin in a common condition. So
Probably beat up a little bit?
sometimes, I mean, it's just a coin that did its job, was circulated, and so when a pre-33 piece comes in the door, we have to look at the condition of the coin and then the date. And then from there, we determine whether it's a coin that's going to be priced on a small premium above the melt value because it's classic, or if it's a much better date, then obviously you go down that road.
I remember going to auctions back in the day, and you'd see pre-33, and it'd have scratches on it. And basically, it was just going for bullion value. And this is when I would attend auctions 20 years ago.
Sure.
The worm has turned, and now pre-33, even kind of beat up, seems pretty collectible. It's catching people's eyes like it wasn't 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, and we see that too. Even coins that, like ex-jewelry pieces, they still command a premium. I mean, you figure say a $2.50 gold piece is 0.1204 of an ounce of gold, which today is what, about $200? Even an ugly one brings $250, $260. So even there's that premium. Though 80 to 85% of that coin's value is determined on its intrinsic metal value, there still is that premium even for the low end stuff.
Okay, a viewer named Jeff Flava Flav. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. It might be LaFlav, but it says the new NGCX grading system.
Oh boy,
that's a big topic. We're going from ditching the up to 70, with replacing it with a 1 to 10 scale. Thoughts? Is it muddying the waters? Is it something good and exciting for the hobby? What's your thoughts, man?
So I have a lot of thoughts about this. The modern coin industry for years has been the realm of the mass marketers, the telemarketers, the guys you see on TV late at night with coins in cherrywood boxes. That's been their cup of tea. That's been their area where they like to tread. They don't tend to get into the classic stuff. And I think that by going to this 10-point system, they're looking to appeal to other collectors that maybe don't deal in coins or don't know coins, because basically everything else, collectible-wise, that's graded, is graded on a 10-point scale. Comic books, stamps, sports cards. That's all graded on that 10-point scale. So I think they're trying to cross-promote that while only offering this program to a few people, which I thought was the interesting part.
Okay.
You or I
That's
could
right.
not submit to them.
Exactly.
They're only offering it to select people who are going to use that product for whatever marketing they have envisioned for it.
Oh, okay. So is that the folks on TV are going to be selling that?
I don't know the exact companies, but I think that's probably the first place you're going to see it is nestled very tightly in a very fine cherrywood box, offered at quite a bit more money than you're used to seeing that stuff at.
Interesting. So, I mean, do you favor the old school way, or do you think this is going to catch on and everything will be on a 10-point scale? And
this might be the trial run for switching it over to that scale.
Yeah.
Though you have guys like me that have been doing this for 20 years, that's all we know is the Sheldon scale, the 70-point scale.
Yeah.
So, they're going to print us a cheat sheet. They're going to.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely an interesting thing. Personally, I don't love it. Just because why try to cater to other grading systems when we have our own that we've been using for
that works
a long time? It's fine, yeah. We don't even use all the numbers in a 70-point scale. So, having decimal points on a 10-point scale is just basically equivalent to a 100-point scale.
Well, thanks for sharing your thoughts on
Yeah,
that.
no problem.
A stacking question here from a
Okay.
guy named Electro Dino. He bought ASEs at around $16. Is now the time to sell?
The premiums are still magnificently wonderful.
Yeah.
You
What are
know,
you paying for ASCs when they walk in the door? Assuming they're in like good sellable condition.
sure. Yeah, depending on my stock levels, you know, if I have 1,000 pieces, obviously I don't necessarily pay as much as if I have 20 pieces. We bought some the other day across the counter at plus $10, so
Okay.
spot plus $10.
So
Wholesale, I've seen anywhere from plus 11 to plus 13 on the dealer networks.
okay.
So I have to look at it as if, you know, I buy these coins in. My customers may not want to pay plus 12 or 13 or $14 an ounce, so I have to be able to move them somewhere at a small profit. So.
Okay. So if spot's around $20 today and you're paying 10 over, he could almost double his money.
Yeah.
I know you don't have a crystal ball, but do you think this is just like a phenomena where the premiums on those are going crazy and it's going to get back to quote unquote normal?
I think once they start the production of 2023s and start releasing the 2023s, I think things will calm down a little bit.
I'm hearing the numbers on the 2023s are going to be low though.
And they may be, but again, right now they're not producing any Eagles. So new product is not available.
Ah, okay.
So if people, companies, investors need Eagles, they have to get them on the secondary market, and that's what's driven the premiums up.
Okay. Nick P. He wants you to give the top 3 coins or series that are currently undervalued,
Okay.
but have potential to grow over time. Like the sleepers. What are the sleepers in the shop? Like, you know they're going to be worth more later, but people aren't noticing them.
So sleeper coins, in my opinion, and it's going to sound really crazy, they're not even U.S. coins. My number one sleeper is actually just neat ancient coins. And I know it sounds really weird being a U.S. coin guy, but you can get super cool 2,000-year-old coins for $15, $20, $30.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You know, just as a history guy. Now, if you're talking about U.S. coin series, I've always been on the Buffalo nickel market. I love that market.
Okay.
I think as time goes on, these coins are just going to get more desirable because they're not pulling out, you know, giant rolls of them, they're not roll hordes of them anymore. So the coins in the market now are kind of the coins that are going to be there.
They are a beautiful, beautiful
And they're
coin.
Yeah, they're absolutely stunning when they're super high grade or even like a nice circulated mid grade coin. They're cool.
Yeah.
And then the last series, I think that if I had to point out a series. And Mike Nodelman from Harlan-Burke, who's a great friend of mine, and I do a podcast with, is going to hate me for saying this because I hate modern coins most of the time. Eisenhower dollars, certified Eisenhower dollars. For some reason,
That's a surprise.
I know, but for some reason, I feel like that's an undervalued market. I feel like really, really high grade coins are actually really hard to grade to get to grade.
Yeah.
So you know, kind of a top pop or close to top pop Ikes is a really interesting place to look.
Yeah. Tell everybody what top pop means. And I just learned that term not too long ago.
Yeah, top pop is basically the finest known example at a grading company. So, you know, a top pop for an Ike dollar might be MS 67 plus or 68. It's just basically the top of the population, the highest graded example.
Speaking of Mike, last time I saw him, his back was hurting a little bit. He said he's been carrying you on this podcast for so long.
Yeah, you know, he drives the boat, and I put gas in the engine.
There you go.
So that's how we put it.
No, I'm just teasing you, man. You guys make such a wonderful, duo back and forth. It's fun to watch and listen to you guys.
Heck yeah. If you haven't seen it, it's called The Coin Show. CoinShowRadio.com, Coin Show Podcast. You can find it Facebook, YouTube, and basically anywhere you get podcasts in an audio format. So.
And I'll put all the links down in the video description so people can come find you guys. And you guys have talked to everybody from the Mint director herself.
Yeah, just recently.
And what else you have coming up in the future that people might want to watch?
Just did a show with Dennis Tucker, who's the publisher at Whitman. He came on and talked about all the new stuff that Whitman's got coming down the pipes.
Okay.
And also gave us a little bit of background and insight on his job with the Citizens Coinage Advisory Committee, which is a government entity that takes volunteers in that makes recommendations on new coin designs to the government. We just want them to know that the collectors out there do have a voice.
Good.
And we do, sometimes they can get so wrapped up in products and product sales that they don't necessarily hear what the collectors have to say.
Okay, I love that.
So we like to...
Because we've all been frustrated at one time or another over
Right.
what's going on at the Mint.
Right. So if we even have just a half of an ear to kind of whisper into, maybe something will stick. Maybe we can do some good that way for our collectors in the hobby.
That's cool. Well, hey, I really appreciate the time.
Hey, no problem.
Anything else that you want to run by my viewers?
No, I'm glad that you guys are here, and I love doing these things with you guys. So.
Well, thanks for the time. I'm going to head over to Cracker Barrel, and I'm going to let you get to work. And you've been very generous with your time. I really appreciate you, buddy.
No problem. Thanks.
All right. Special thank you to all of my channel members. And hey, if you're interested in becoming a channel member and supporting my efforts, check the video description. And thank you for watching. Now it's time to reveal what I purchased. Hey, Matt had an amazing pile of vintage silver rounds. Check out all of these that I picked up. And just for good measure, he found a lonely little Libertad for me out of the back. Here's another selection for you to enjoy.
Oh,